In the golden age of 16-bit gaming, where titles like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy V ruled the RPG realm, EarthBound emerged as a unique and offbeat contender that left a lasting impression on those who ventured into its peculiar world. Released in 1995 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, EarthBound, known as Mother 2 in Japan, stood out from its RPG peers, with a quirky narrative, unconventional setting, and a distinct sense of humor that was miles away from the usual swords and sorcery fare. At first glance, EarthBound might seem like an oddball in the RPG genre. Instead of medieval kingdoms, players find themselves navigating the suburbs of Eagleland, a world reminiscent of small-town America, filled with strange yet endearing characters, from your everyday neighbor to runaway dogs and cranky old ladies. The game follows the journey of Ness, a young boy from the quiet town of Onett, who, after a mysterious meteor crash, is thrust into an adventure to save the world from the evil alien force known as Gygas. What makes EarthBound stand out is not just its setting, but the way it blends the familiar with the fantastical. The game takes everyday items like hamburgers and yo-yos and turns them into essential tools for survival. It also challenges players with enemies that are as bizarre as they're memorable, like the New Age retro hippie and the unassuming local guy. This whimsical approach is matched by the game's unique visual style, featuring colorful, almost cartoonish graphics that still manage to convey a sense of charm and nostalgia decades after its release. But beneath its light-hearted surface, EarthBound touches on themes that are surprisingly deep, exploring the power of friendship, the importance of courage, and the journey of self-discovery. The game's narrative unfolds in a way that draws players in with its witty dialogue and unexpected twists, creating an experience that feels personal and immersive. This blend of humor and heart is one of the reasons why EarthBound has earned a devoted fan base, despite its initial lukewarm reception in the West. EarthBound starts in the most unassuming way possible on a quiet night in the suburban town of Onett, where our young protagonist, Ness, lives a peaceful life with his family. But this calm is shattered when a meteorite crashes near his home, marking the beginning of an extraordinary adventure. The crash site becomes the focal point for strange occurrences, and Ness soon discovers that this event is tied to an evil force known as Gygas, an alien entity that threatens to engulf the world in darkness. Guided by a mysterious voice in his dreams, Ness learns that he is destined to save the world. But he's not alone in this quest. Ness is joined by 3 other kids, each with their own unique abilities and backgrounds. Together, this unlikely band of heroes embarks on a journey that takes them across the varied landscapes of Eagleland, from the bustling city of Forside to the eerie swamp of Deep Darkness. Along the way, they encounter a host of quirky characters and face bizarre enemies, from the mischievous Mr. Saturns to the enigmatic Tenda tribe. Each location is more surreal than the last, blending the familiar with the fantastical in a way that keeps players engaged and curious about what lies around the next corner. The story of EarthBound is as much about self-discovery as it is about saving the world. As Ness and his friends travel from town to town, they must visit 8 sanctuaries, each connected to the Earth and Ness's own psyche. These sanctuaries hold melodies that, when combined, unlock the true potential within Ness, allowing him to face the ultimate evil. This journey of gathering the 8 melodies is a central theme in the game, representing the growth and development of Ness from an ordinary boy to a hero capable of facing the incomprehensible horror that is Gygas. Gygas himself is one of the most iconic and terrifying villains in video game history. Unlike traditional antagonists, Gygas is portrayed as a force of pure chaos and evil, with no physical form or discernible motives. The final battle against Gygas is a surreal and emotionally charged experience, reflecting the game's deeper themes of fear, loss, and the power of hope. It's a confrontation that leaves a lasting impression, as the game blurs the line between the player and the characters, making the battle feel personal and intense. EarthBound is a story about the triumph of innocence and friendship over malevolence and despair. It's a tale that resonates on a deeply emotional level, making it much more than just a game. It's an experience that stays with you long after the credits roll. The journey of Ness and his friends is one that players remember not just for its quirky humor and unique setting, but for the emotional impact it leaves behind. EarthBound is often praised for its unique approach to gameplay, blending traditional RPG mechanics with a variety of inventive twists that set it apart from other titles of its era. At its core, the game follows the familiar structure of a turn-based RPG, but it's in the details where EarthBound truly shines, offering players an experience that feels both comfortingly familiar and refreshingly original. One of the first things players notice about EarthBound is its unconventional setting. Unlike the medieval castles and fantasy worlds typical of RPGs in the 1990s, EarthBound places players in a modern, suburban environment. Towns are modeled after small American cities, with drugstores replacing item shops and hotels doubling as inns. The quirky humor extends to the items and equipment, with hamburgers and pizza serving as healing items and yo-yos and baseball bats acting as weapons. This grounded, yet bizarre, setting is a big part of what makes EarthBound so memorable, as it turns the ordinary into something extraordinary. When it comes to combat, EarthBound sticks to a traditional turn-based system, but adds its own unique twists. Battles are triggered through random encounters or by running into enemies on the overworld. Unlike many RPGs of the time, enemies are visible on the screen before combat begins, allowing players the opportunity to engage or avoid them. This gives the player a sense of control over their encounters, reducing the frustration of endless random battles that plagued many RPGs of the era. Once in battle, players are presented with a first-person view of the enemies, a nod to classic RPGs like Dragon Quest. However, EarthBound introduces a distinctive rolling H meter, which adds a layer of strategy to each encounter. When a character takes damage, their H doesn't instantly drop to the new value. Instead, it scrolls downwards, much like an odometer. This means that if a character is dealt a fatal blow, the player has a brief window to heal or finish the battle before the H meter hits 0. This mechanic can create tense, last-second victories that feel incredibly rewarding, especially in the tougher battles later in the game. Another feature that sets EarthBound apart is its approach to status effects and conditions. The game introduces a variety of humorous and unique ailments, such as homesickness, which causes Ness to miss turns because he's too distracted by thoughts of home. Other conditions, like colds and mushroomization, where characters get mushrooms growing on their heads and their controls become scrambled, add a layer of challenge while also contributing to the game's quirky charm. EarthBound's gameplay is a masterful blend of traditional RPG elements and innovative mechanics that work together to create a unique experience. Its mix of strategy, exploration, and humor makes every moment engaging, whether you're battling bizarre enemies or simply chatting with the eccentric inhabitants of Eagle Land. The game's unconventional approach to RPG tropes not only sets it apart from its contemporaries, but also ensures that it remains a beloved classic, offering players an adventure that's as fun to play today as it was nearly 3 decades ago. When it comes to the graphics and music of EarthBound, the game stands out as a masterclass in creating a distinct and memorable atmosphere. While the visual style and soundtrack might not have pushed the technical limits of the SNES, they worked together to craft a world that was both whimsical and deeply immersive, leaving a lasting impression on anyone who played the game. Visually, EarthBound adopts a minimalist, almost childlike art style that perfectly complements its quirky and offbeat tone. The game's graphics are colorful and cartoonish, with simple, clean lines and a bright palette that gives Eagle Land and its many locales a vibrant, inviting look. Rather than striving for realism, the game embraces a stylized approach that enhances its surreal atmosphere. The enemies in EarthBound are where the game's visual creativity really shines. From the absurd to the unsettling, the enemy designs are a parade of weird and wonderful creation. You'll encounter everything from the new age retro hippie to the terrifying Gygas himself, each rendered in a style that's both humorous and occasionally eerie. While the graphics of EarthBound are iconic in their own right, it's the music that truly elevates the game to legendary status. The soundtrack, composed by Kiichi Suzuki and Hirokazu Tanaka, is a masterpiece of eclecticism, blending a wide variety of genres and influences to create a soundscape that is as unique as the game itself. The music ranges from catchy, upbeat tunes to haunting, atmospheric pieces, perfectly capturing the game's emotional highs and lows. What makes EarthBound's music so memorable is its ability to evoke emotion and atmosphere with surprising subtlety. Tracks are infused with a sense of nostalgia and bittersweet emotion that resonates deeply with players, even years after they finish the game. These melodies become intertwined with the player's journey, making them an integral part of the EarthBound experience. The graphics and music of EarthBound work together to create a world that is as visually captivating as it is orally immersive. The game's art style, though simple, is packed with charm and personality, while the soundtrack is a rich tapestry of sounds and melodies that perfectly capture the essence of the game. Together, they form a cohesive and unforgettable aesthetic that has helped cement EarthBound as a timeless classic in the world of video games. EarthBound is one of those rare games that, despite an initially lukewarm reception, has grown into a beloved classic with an enduring legacy that stretches far beyond its original release, though it struggled to find commercial success in the US. Upon its 1995 debut, the game has since garnered a passionate following that has only expanded over the years, solidifying its place as one of the most influential RPGs of all time. When EarthBound first hit store shelves in North America, it faced a tough market. RPGs were still something of a niche genre in the West, and EarthBound's quirky, non-traditional approach was a hard sell to a broader audience, accustomed to the fantasy settings of games like Final Fantasy and The Legend of Zelda. Its marketing, with slogans like "This game stinks," tried to play up the game's offbeat humor, but failed to convey the depth and charm that made it special. As a result, EarthBound didn't perform well commercially, and it faded into obscurity for many years. However, the late 1990s and early 2000s saw a resurgence of interest in EarthBound, largely fueled by the rise of the internet and the growing influence of online gaming communities. As fans began to share their love for the game on message boards and fan sites, EarthBound found new life among gamers who appreciated its unique approach to storytelling, its humorous yet heartfelt tone, and its innovative gameplay mechanics. The game's re-release on the Wii U Virtual Console in 2013, and later on the Nintendo Switch Online service, introduced it to a whole new generation of players, cementing its status as a cult classic. The fan community around EarthBound is one of the most dedicated and passionate in gaming. From fan art and cosplay to extensive fan theories and even full-fledged fan games like Mother 4, the EarthBound community has kept the spirit of the game alive in countless ways. The annual EarthBound convention Camp Fangamer is a testament to the game's enduring popularity, bringing together fans from all over the world to celebrate their shared love for the series. In Japan, the Mother series, of which EarthBound is the second installment, has enjoyed consistent popularity, and its creator, Shigesato Itoi, is revered as a visionary game designer. While the third game in the series, Mother 3, remains officially unreleased in the West, fan translations have allowed English-speaking audiences to experience the continuation of the EarthBound legacy, further fueling the game's mystique and appeal. EarthBound's legacy is one of resilience and transformation. From its humble beginnings as a misunderstood oddity to its current status as a cult classic and source of inspiration, EarthBound has proven that a game doesn't need to be a commercial juggernaut to make a lasting impact. Its influence can be seen in the games we play today, in the way we talk about and analyze video games, and in the vibrant, enduring community of fans who continue to keep its spirit alive. EarthBound is more than just a game. It's a testament to the power of creativity, the importance of taking risks, and the lasting impact that a truly unique experience can have on the world. Thank you for joining us. If you like this deep dive into the retro world of EarthBound, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, keep questing and keep gaming.